You've seen their faces, on posters, on screens, in stories that shaped your childhood. But behind the magic, behind the spells, there were real people, with real struggles, and unforgettable journeys. In this series, we look back at the beloved cast of Harry Potter, not just to remember their roles, but to rediscover who they truly are. She stepped into the spotlight at just 11 years old, with a wand in her hand, and the world watching. But the girl behind Hermione Granger was never just a character. She was something else entirely. Yes, we're talking about Emma Watson. Born in Paris, raised in Oxfordshire, Emma had never acted professionally before Harry Potter. But when she walked into that audition room, something clicked. She wasn't just playing Hermione, she was her. Fiercely intelligent, brave, unapologetically herself. As the world watched her grow up on screen, Emma faced the pressure of global fame before she was even a teenager. Paparazzi followed her everywhere. Her face was on every magazine cover. And yet, she stayed grounded. While others spiraled, she studied. While others partied, she chose Brown University. But Emma never stopped acting. She chose roles that challenged her, from the haunting truth of the bling ring to the timeless grace of Beauty and the Beast. She refused to be boxed in as just the wizard girl. Off-screen, she found a different kind of magic. She became a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, launching the He for She campaign for gender equality. She gave speeches that echoed in halls far beyond Hogwarts. Fun fact, Emma once considered leaving acting altogether after the last Harry Potter film, unsure if she could ever step out of Hermione's shadow. But instead, she built a legacy all her own. She wasn't cast to be a hero. She became one, for an entire generation. He was the boy everyone loved to hate, with slicked back hair, a cold sneer, and the name Draco Malfoy. But behind the villain, there was a very different story. Yes, we're talking about Tom Felton. Tom started acting at age 8, long before Hogwarts came calling. He starred in commercials and small TV roles, with a natural charm that casting directors noticed early. But nothing prepared him for what came next. At 12, he was cast as Draco, the schoolyard rival, the spoiled pureblood, the boy who stood for everything Harry Potter stood against. But off-screen, Tom was cheerful, goofy, and beloved by the cast. He played the villain, but never became one. Fame came fast. Fans yelled at him on the street. Some couldn't separate Tom from Draco. He once said, "People hated me, and that meant I did my job well." But it wasn't always easy, being the bad guy for a decade. He struggled to find roles that didn't see him through Malfoy's shadow. So he turned to music. Tom found peace in songwriting, raw, honest lyrics, often written alone in his bedroom or on tour. He also found strength in vulnerability, opening up about depression and identity. In his memoir Beyond the Wand, fun fact, during filming, Tom had to dye his hair so often it damaged his scalp. And he wasn't even allowed to sit with the Gryffindor cast at lunch, just to keep the rivalry real. Tom Felton may have played a Slytherin, but in real life, he's one of the warmest souls to walk through Hogwarts. He wore round glasses, held a wand, and had a lightning scar on his forehead. For an entire generation, he was Harry Potter, but the man behind the boy who lived had a very different journey. Yes, we're talking about Daniel Radcliffe. At just 11, he was cast in what would become one of the biggest film franchises of all time. Overnight, Daniel went from a shy boy in London to one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. The pressure? Immense. The expectations? Crushing. But somehow, he endured. What people didn't see was the struggle behind the scenes. As the fame grew, so did the fear. Daniel battled anxiety, the pressure to be perfect, and eventually, alcoholism. He later admitted that during some Harry Potter premieres, he was drunk. The weight of always being watched took its toll. He once said, "It's not just being famous, it's growing up without learning how to be yourself." But Daniel Radcliffe is nothing if not resilient. When the final film wrapped, he could have faded. Instead, he shocked everyone. He chose theater, indie films, wild roles, a corpse in Swiss Army Man, a villain in Now You See Me Too, a man with horns, anything but safe. And through it all, He built a career not on fame, but on fearless choices. He became the kind of actor who wasn't afraid to look strange, to be vulnerable, to disappear into a role. And quietly, he earned respect, not just as the boy wizard, but as a true artist. He said, "I didn't want to be trapped in one idea of who I was." So he rewrote the idea himself. Fun fact, Daniel still gets asked to recite lines from the first film, and sometimes he does, but only if the person asks kindly. Daniel Radcliffe may have started as a wizard, but the real magic is how he became free. She was whimsical, dreamy, and quietly wise, a character unlike any other at Hogwarts. But the story of Evanna Lynch, the girl who brought Luna Lovegood to life, is even more magical than fiction. Yes, we're talking about Evanna Lynch. Before the fame, before the fan letters, Evanna was a shy teenager growing up in Ireland. At age 11, she developed a severe eating disorder. Hospitalized, isolated, and struggling with her self-worth, she turned to books for comfort, and found refuge in the world of Harry Potter. She didn't just love Luna Lovegood, she was Luna. Quirky, misunderstood, quietly brave. In letters she sent to J.K. Rowling during her recovery, she talked about how Luna made her feel seen. Rowling wrote back, encouraging her, not just as a fan, but as a person. Then came the casting call. Over 15,000 girls auditioned. Evanna, still recovering, walked into that room, and became Luna. No formal acting experience, no Hollywood training, just truth and magic. Her performance was effortless, ethereal, as if Luna had stepped right out of the page. She brought something to the screen that no one could replicate, because she believed it. She wasn't playing Luna, she was healing with her. Fame never changed her. Evanna became an advocate for mental health, body positivity, and self-acceptance. She wrote, spoke, and acted, always with honesty. In her memoir The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting, she wrote about pain with poetic clarity, and about hope with fierce grace. They were more than just stars of a story. Emma, Tom, Daniel, Evanna. They each carried something real behind the magic. Which of their stories stayed with you the most? Let us know in the comments, and tell us who should come next. If this journey meant something to you, like the video, and subscribe. We're just getting started.